Today is Tuesday, August 20th, and we'll hear from ultra-respected Vice President of Player Personnel, Will McClay of the Cowboys next. In 1993, Bob opened the original Bob's Steak and Chop House on Lemon Avenue. 32 years later, the original Bob still greets you at the original Bob's. And now his sparkling new Bob's at Craig Ranch has opened in McKinney. Same fantastic beef and fresh seafood at these two Bob's, each run by the Bob. Bob's Steak and Chop House.
And now a word from our title sponsor.
Are all financial advisors fiduciaries? Fewer than you think. Not knowing could reduce your lifestyle. Hi, I'm Mitch Kramer, founder and CEO of Fluent Financial. A fiduciary is a regulatory term to reduce conflicts of interest in wealth management. A fiduciary always works in your best interest. A non-fiduciary advisor might put their compensation or company ahead of yours. At Fluent Financial, we are certified financial planners acting as fiduciary advisors. To learn more, go to fluentfinancial.com or Fluent Financial's YouTube channel.
Star Power Smart Home Solutions, where cutting-edge technology meets effortless living. Control your entire home with just a tap on your smartphone. Adjust the lights, set the perfect temperature, and ensure your home is secure, all from the palm of your hand. Star Power has the experts that will transform your house into a secure, smart home. Experience the ultimate solution in comfort and security for your family. Get started at GetStarPower.com. Star Power, where innovation meets home.
Will McClay is approaching his 22nd year in the Dallas Cowboys front office, and since 2014, he's been prominent in the personnel director, and starting in 2017, the vice president of personnel of the club. You know, a few years ago, Will and I were sitting and talking at training camp, and we discovered that I had announced some of his games in the 80s when Will was a star defensive back at Rice, where he was a starter there for 4 years. First of all, thank you for your time. We really do appreciate it.
It's always great to be on with you. I enjoy spending time. And so don't be too rough on me like you were during those Rice days when we were getting beat 44-0, okay? We tried our best.
Yeah, but you generally hung in there for 5 or 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, we did. And that's when I started to learn that having more quality players really did matter. So that was the Rice Owl experience was my first into player personnel.
You're now 57. I look back at your life, and at 15 years old, as a freshman in high school, you're a wide receiver on a Texas State 3A champion team. 3 years later, you were the quarterback on a Texas State champion in 3A. You're pretty much a football lifer, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I was with the scouts when they came in, our college scouts come in at the beginning of camp, and we go around the room and we talk about history, where we are, where we come from and all that stuff. And that was, I reflected again that for now it's been 50 years of my life. Football's been a part of it, darn near 50 years straight. So it's been a part of what I do and what I'm all about.
So what's a good Rice political science graduate doing in football all these years?
Well, I thought about going to law school and then realized that there's a lot more reading to do and football is a lot more fun. And I was probably a lot better than I would be in a courtroom. So I decided to stay with, that my dad used to say, find your passion, stay with it. So follow that advice.
For a football player, the season ends January, if you're lucky, early February. There's some time off then, and then there's mini camps and OTAs and things like that. There is no time off in the personnel department, is there?
No, the NFL's kind of made sure of that with the 17 games and the amazing schedule that we have. The all-star games start as soon as our season ends. Then you go combine and you do all those things. And then when the season's over, it's always 24/7, 365 to acquire players. So you've always got to stay on top of that. But I did take a vacation for myself the first time this year in forever. So I've gone and taken my son somewhere, but I actually went on a personal vacation and I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I got 75 days off.
But if you'd quit, you could get a few more vacations like that.
No, I still got bills to pay and my son's got to go to college. So I still got responsibilities and I still got a mission of trying to do my part as best we can with our department and help us get over that hump and where we need to be.
I'm going to ask you for a number, Will. Counting the players that were just in the recent NFL draft and all the current players in the league, and that's 32 teams carrying 90 players each at this point, plus Canadian Football League players and XFL players. Can you give us a guess at the number of dossiers, files you have on current players in your computer?
Oh gosh, I couldn't even. I mean, everybody who is currently in the league now, we have, for the most part, we have reports on all of them, be it college or pro. So that's 2,700, and then the guys that have played before. It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot, and it's a, it's we use it for reference. Even the guys that aren't here. The other day, I was looking at, I was trying to come up with. Micah Parsons had asked me for something to look at, and so we went through this exercise of trying to figure out which players match some of the players that are currently on our team. And so Chauncey Golston is one, and so you're looking at his height, measurables, arm length, all those things. So we go to the computer and you run this deep search, and there was about 12 people that pulled up without going to the retired players that are currently in the league that have the measurables as him. And so you start going down and you're going, okay, I remember this guy, what do we think about this guy? And that's kind of what we do in this business is you have the physical comparables, and then you say, who do they play like? Who do they move like? And so try and keep that encyclopedia running so that we have those examples.
Let's go to the last draft. Every year, about 255 players get taken in the NFL draft. Can you give us a guess how many college players eligible for the draft you might have had scouting reports on?
We start with about 5,000 reports.
Wow.
Yeah, we start with about 5,000 guys. And, the NFL is so interesting that we're the only league that doesn't have a minor league. The minor league is college for us. So we end up going in those schools to gather information about those players. And it's, someone talking to you, telling you about them, their experience with them. We have to take it further because we don't have a farm system. So our scouts do an incredible job of digging and finding out more about these guys and spending more time with the players as much as we can. I think the pandemic and Zoom calls and all those things it was very terrible for most of us and being shut down, but it also gave us more ways to do our job. So we have more ways to connect with players. One of our big things is finding out exactly who that player is. Let's find out the information that's given to us. But when you take that 5,000 and you whittle it down to 400 that you like, then you whittle it down to, 200 that you really like, 200 that you can get to. And then at the end of the day, at every draft, there might be 255 names on the board. We really want to go for the guys that can help us win physically, do all the things we need them to, but the ones that we have the best feeling about what we're getting coming into the building.
Can you imagine that back in the 60s and early 70s, Gil Brandt, as the player personnel director, did all this with paper filing?
Well, I can kind of believe it. I'm still a little Gil old school. If I could show you what my camp desk looks like right now, there's a lot of paper around. So, but we have the computer, and I know Gil and the Cowboys started that. Well, thank God they did, because I would probably have more paper on my desk. But it's amazing when you go back and talk about the history of Gil Brandt and the Cowboys and the excellence, and that's kind of a thing that's over my head, and wanting to achieve that status as well for myself, the team, and the guys that I work with on our scouting team.
The Cowboys have not been big players in free agents at all recently, but you've been very successful at shopping in the NFL's bargain bin. Why? Why do you think you've found so many players, I'm going to say this advisedly, cheap players that become significant contributors?
I think you have to do that. I mean, as the market changes, you have to understand that, there's only so much in the cap, and the way that it goes, the good players, if you draft good players and you want to keep them, you have to pay them. That's the system. Well, also within that system, it's kind of like the credit card deal. All of us have those little things called credit cards, and let's say you have 53 of them and you only have $100,000, and you got these 3 credit cards that are the super credit cards, but you've got to pay all those credit cards. So you got to figure out how to do it. So you have to shop wisely. I think it's from the work that our scouts do. It's also the willingness of the coaches to listen to what we have, what we recommend and how we do things. And the unique part about our situation, people talk all the time about maybe me going somewhere and being a general manager and all that. We all work for somebody. I think I love our system, what we've built, and the team that we've built. And there's a thing called collaboration. If I had to do it all by myself, we wouldn't be great. We don't do this by ourselves, so I love our process, and it gives us the opportunity to have success and to find guys in those nooks and crannies and guys that fit what we do. And that's why we've won 36 games over 3 years. Only the Chiefs, I think, that is one more than us in the regular season. Now, the key is, if we're that good now, what's the other part that we have to get us over the hump? I think that's a big part of what we do on the personnel side, is also finding those guys that have those factors and that are different, that you can't see on tape, that you don't read about when ESPN grades our draft right after the draft and they've never put on a uniform. Those are the things that drive us and that we're striving to do to become better to help get to that point.
What would you most like to add to this team right now, if you could?
CeeDee Lamb. I think that it's all a part of negotiation stuff, but I think that as we go through, we've gone through the preseason and we've got 2 games and we've got 1 more left. It's a great opportunity to see the young guys. We don't play our starters. We get the opportunity to work against other people. So you can, the guys that you really need and that you're paying, that you're counting on, you see that what those guys are all about. But then it's the opportunities in these preseason games to see who steps up, to see who the lights aren't too bright for, the guys that play football the right way, and adding them to your football team and being able to count them. The NFL with 17 games now, it's about your depth. It's about having quality depth, the guys that can step in. So it's continue to build the bottom of the roster. If the bottom of the roster is strong, you always stand an opportunity.
Well, the Cowboys had a lot of people leave to free agency this offseason. They did not have a lot of money to spend to refill those holes. Doesn't that put more pressure on you and your scouts to find players who can fill those holes?
Yeah, everybody's got their role to fill in whatever the conditions are. We have to find a way to win. And again, when you have good players that want to be paid and, all of them can't be paid. So I think it's a labor of love for us, is to dig and find. I mean, that's what scouting is, gathering information, and then evaluating is assessing the talents. And then you got to mix those two together, not only what those guys bring to you, but also be aware of what's inside your building. And it's about building a team. It's not a collection of the most talented people. We did something this training camp with O2X, which is a group of Navy SEALs that have formed this company. And these guys have done all the different things that, protect our country. And so we picked their brains because we feel like that, there's a lot of similarities between the military selection and football. There's who plays football? Well, people that are a little bit different. Who joins the military and dedicates themselves to that? They're people that are a little bit different. So, and they come from all different walks of life. It's trying to find a way to get those pieces together and then have a system where they all strive for the same goal. And that's what drives me in doing this. And that's what I'm so proud of our scouting staff and how we do it. They do a lot of work, probably a lot more work than other scouts, because our opinion matters. So with great power comes great responsibility. And we take that on, and when we're trying to get over the hump, and again, doing our part as best we can.
Do you ever wander down the hall and stick your head in Jerry's office and say, hey, when do you think the contracts for Dak and CD are going to get done?
No, because I have the great fortune of being able to find players without the extra part of money and all that stuff. I let them do their job. They'll ask me for recommendations about it, but I'm glad I don't have to count the pennies.
Finally, you mentioned earlier there have been chances, Will, for you to leave for other teams, for general manager positions in other teams. Why have you chosen to stay here?
It's about family. And again, in order to put things into, you set up a system, and I believe in the system that we do, and I believe in the people that we work with. And the main mission is to win a championship for the people of Dallas and for the Dallas Cowboys at the world's most visible sports team. I've got a big part in it, and I love the team aspect of it. I love the people that I work with in the building, and I want to win a championship in Dallas so bad, and I'm driven to do that.
Well,
and my son's a senior now, so.
So you're a free agent after this coming season, Will?
Yeah, well, it could be.
Will, thank you so much for your time. It's always wonderful catching up with you. God bless you and safe travels.
Always a pleasure, Norm, and I appreciate our time. I look forward to every chance we get to speak, so I thank you so very much.
See you, Will.
Thanks.
Today's episode brought to you by Fluent Financial, Retire Sooner, Better Lifestyle, by Star Power, Love Where You Live, and by Bob's Steak and Chop House.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Just Wondering. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, hit follow, and then every weekday, a fresh new episode will be delivered right to you. And should you know other people who might enjoy it, please share it with friends. The executive producer and sometimes on-air talent of Just Wondering is my wife, Mary Dans. The producer is Mike Matern. The technical director is IndyCar Tim Hand from FanStream Sports. We really appreciate your being with us. This is fun to do, and I hope it's fun for you too. And realize that every day, I'll be just wondering about something.
And I'm Mary Hitchkus, and I'm